Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Nonfiction Book Club. Let me get my glasses on, see what I can see. God, I tell you, I think something has gone wrong with my shoulders or something. My shirts don't fit anymore. My t-shirts don't fit. It's getting crazy. Let me see if I can straighten this out somehow or other. Go that way. There we go. Golly, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. Welcome. Good to see you. Um, okay. Well, I got my glasses on. Now I can't see anything. Let's see who we've got here this evening. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you, Scott Hummer. And you were probably the first one here as well. Gosh, we got some exciting stuff to talk about this evening. One of my favorite subjects. And I'll give you his point of view and my point of view. Scott Hummer was the first one here. Patricia Butler, welcome. Good to see you. Phaoxerus, good to see you, my friend. Shenanigans and Love Son, good evening. Welcome back. Um, Let me see. And I talked to Sumi. She's not feeling too well this evening, so she's not going to be here with us. Eldog, good evening. Welcome. And let me see. I think I said Patricia Butler. Yeah, I did. And she's always fantastic to have with us. Butch Graves. Sometimes he challenges Scott to be the first one here. So just beware of that. Suzanne Goulet, good evening. Creative Redundancy, Little Lone Prepper. Wow, look at all these fantastic people. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate the fantastic support that you give me. But we're all here for one reason, and that reason this evening is to continue on reading in this fantastic book by James C. Jones. I strongly recommend you get a copy of it. This is going to be an unofficial Bible. At least a preparedness type of a Bible that you need to have in your collection there at the house. And we're going to talk about that. That's going to be the very first thing we're going to talk about in paragraph 101. How can I build up a preparedness library or survival library, he calls it. Remember that Mr. Jones and I are products of preparedness from long, long ago. So when we were first getting into this, we called ourselves survivalists. And then the survival moniker, more or less, was taken over uh, as kind of the rugged individualist out in the forest, um, bushcraft type person. That moniker, that became the survivalist. And that was during the time of the Rambo movies. So we separated between the preparedness minded people, who were the people in the bunkers and the people in the homesteads and stuff like that, the people who were kind of the hunker down people, versus the bug out people who were the survivalists. Later on, there was another rift, and that rift was between the hunker down people and the people who basically went out to their bug out location and created that as their new home. And we call those the homesteaders. So those people are out there. They've got a piece of land. They've turned it into their survival retreat, into their preparedness retreat, and they're living off the land. And I tell you what, they are still part of us. They have the same idea that we're going to hunker down and just continue on in case anything happens. In the vast majority of cases, whereas the survivalists, the people who are bugging out, we now call those bug out people or bops. And so they're going to bug out pretty much regardless of what happens. And then they might think about hunker down, but I'm not so sure what they're going to do when their 3-day supply of stuff runs out. Okay, paragraph 101 or question 101, page 183 of this fantastic book. There is a link for you to buy it down below. I do get 2% of whatever you spend on it. I think it's $20, so I'm going to get maybe 40 cents, and that gets donated. So everything you give me gets divided up 4 ways. Okay, so number 1 way is it goes to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, which helps people who are in need on a monthly basis. Number 2, it goes to Salvation Army. They get 25%. A good friend of mine, Scott, is the local commander. They do a phenomenal job helping people here in Williamson County. And then the third one is the Williamson County Food Bank, which is the carrying place. I personally have started giving my 25% to another St. Vincent de Paul organization up in Andice, and I give them $25 a month whether I make anything off YouTube or not. But anyhow, I've been doing this since 1970, helping people who are in need. And I will tell you that the absolute finest food pantry I have ever seen in my life is run by the Society of St. Vincent de Paul in Andice, Texas. Superior job, just superior. You guys are doing the work that needs to be done. You are the model that everybody else needs to follow. So, number 101 on page 183, how can I build up a survival library? Start with this book. Absolutely. This is going to be, in my opinion, one of your first books that you want to have in your library. There's another one that I'm reading right now that I'm going to say will probably be number 2, Bug In, Bug Out. Once you've got those bases established, then you can start getting out into other things, okay? Now, you want to have a wide variety of topics. You don't want to have all focused on one. You want a wide variety of events. How am I going to heat my home if in the winter, if the heat goes out, if power goes out? How am I going to cool it in the summer if there is no power? How am I going to get rid of poop and stuff like that can cause disease? How am I going to grow my garden? All these different questions. You got to have a good library and a good resource library that's going to help you with that. Sumi did make it. Oh, you turned me into a fibber. I told everybody you weren't going to make it about our chat we just had. But anyhow, it says he recommends military survival manuals, but they're usually slanted towards outdoor and escape and evasion skills. Some do a real good job covering nuclear, chemical, and biological survival. I wholeheartedly agree. However, I want to put a caveat in there. The military has access to certain chemicals, certain tools, and certain medications that you as a civilian don't. For example, VX and VN, which are nerve agents. Inside of our gas mask kit that's issued to us, we have an auto injector. It's filled with atropine, which is an anti-nerve agent medication. And you just pull it comes like this. You pull the cap off, slap it into the thigh of your leg, and poof, you've got anti-nerve agent going into your skin. They have MOP4, which is military-oriented protective personal protection level 4, which means that you're totally covered with this impermeable, charcoal impregnated, water-resistant, sweat-inducing coat, pants, boots, gloves, and then you've got your mask and a hood. So there's nothing can get to you. Okay, there are some agents that are contact agents, like primarily the blood agents, the GBs, and stuff like that. There are also lung agents. There are blister agents. Most of those are going to be contact agents. That means if they come in contact with your skin, that's where they have the effect. Then there are the inhaled agents, and those can be like the mustard gas. Those can be like a nerve agent, or they can be some of the biological agents, okay? Anthrax or something like that. That's going to be, anthrax is actually a nerve agent. But some of the bugs, okay, that you can ingest, inhale, whatever. For example, C19 was an inhalable agent, biological agent. We could argue whether it's biological or chemical. Probably more accurate to say chemical, but you know what I mean. So anyhow, the military has access to things that you don't. They have chemical scrubbers. So if I'm exposed to any kind of an agent, we're going to have a decon area, and there's going to be a big truck there with a power washer, and it's got chemical agents in it that neutralize almost anything I've been exposed to. They're going to wash my truck down, and then they'll say, okay, get out. Then I get out of my truck. They're going to hose me down while I'm still in my protective equipment and neutralize as much of that as possible. Then I'm going to take that off, doff that, we call it, and go immediately into a shower, totally naked, and get everything rinsed off. And then I'll go into a new area where they'll issue me new clothes, underwear and clothes. So all of that's taken care of. How do we replicate that becomes the question in a civilian world when you don't have all that infrastructure there to support you. So you kind of have to create that yourself. That's where the books come in handy, making sure that you understand everything that has to be done to create your own decontamination area. And so I've replicated that in my backyard. Okay. I've got uh, 5 mil drop plastic that surrounds my patio. And so you come in one area, you take off your clothes and throw your clothes into a burn barrel, basically outside of that area. So you're going to have to reach through and pass it through. Then you're going to go through an outside cold water shower. Yes, cold water. Why cold water? Because hot water opens the pores in your skin. And if there is any agent there, then that agent's going to have a better chance of permeating your skin and getting into your body. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your pores closed. So you do that with cold water. So you do a cold water rinse, no scrubbing. Okay. Just rinse it off. Then you go to a drying area. Then you come inside. Supposedly everything's been rinsed off. There is an angle into the shower area. So all that goes away from the house. We don't want to have all that washed off decontamination anywhere close to puddling inside the house or anything like that. You step inside the house, dry off, get clean clothes, and you're good to go. So that's how you can replicate that kind of stuff. But you need a book to tell you how to do that so that you make sure you're doing it correctly. Most of the stuff, like you're going to hear the SAS Survival Guide, everybody says that's the #1 book. No, it's not. Not if you're a hunker down person. Not if you're like I am. Okay. I'm not going to go traipsing through the woods. I don't care about those survival skills. What I want to know is, how can I keep my house warm? How can I keep my house cool? How can I have good lights and yet at the same time have light discipline? What is a good communication system to tell me and give me a warning that there's bad guys in the area or something's happening or there's going to be a food distribution I need to be at? How can I cook indoors without having carbon monoxide take over the indoors of my house? How can I do that safely? How can I do it outside and not create any odor that's going to tell everybody within 15 miles that I'm cooking? So all those become important questions you got to answer through your library. Then once you've got the basics covered, then he says advanced medical skills, foraging, gardening, bartering, food preservation, general self-reliant living in your phase 2 library. Don't overlook books that address the psychological and philosophical aspects of survival. We've been talking about that quite a bit. I like to focus on that. Everything you do in preparedness is based upon where you are psychologically. Okay. Get yourself prepared for the fact right now that things are going to change. And the more adept you are to adapting to the changes, the better your chances of survival. All those other people who are going to be a shock because things changed. No power, no food, no access to a banking account, all that kinds of stuff, no access to a credit card. How many people are living month to month on credit cards? So once all that's gone, people are going to go crazy, but not you, because you've thought about it. You've got a plan on how you're going to handle it. The better your plan. Well, let's start off with the basics. Just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got the basics. I have a plan. I have a plan. Okay. Maybe that plan is to survive a financial collapse. Well, you know what? That plan to survive a financial collapse is probably 85% compatible with a CME. Okay. So now all of a sudden, all you have to worry about in order to change over from financial collapse, for which you prepared, into a CME, or maybe a couple of other things, maybe a solar power generator, maybe a 5 kW gasoline generator with some storage of gasoline. And you've read books, you've seen some of my videos, you have some Pri-G or you have some Stay-Bil. Stay-Bil, you can stabilize your gas in a 5-gallon container for 2 years. Pri-G, you can go for 5 years. So you've got all this stockpile now of gasoline, and you've learned how to safely store that away from your home so that you can run a 5 kW generator and power your air conditioner. You also know that your air conditioner is 220 volts. The 5 kW generator is 110. So you said, oh, wait a minute, how am I going to cool? I'm going to go buy a 110 or 120 volt Black & Decker air conditioner, room air conditioner, like we have in our bedroom. All of this is going to come from your library. Same thing. How do I treat a wound? What becomes important, especially in a non-sterile environment, as far as first aid, wound cleaning, antiseptics, antibiotics. I'll have a link down below. Make sure you have one of these. Sorry, it was out of reach. Make sure you have one of these. Make sure you get it. And I'll have a link for this down below as well. But this has all the antibiotics. I've had mine long enough to where I take mine with me when I go to my annual physical. And I have my physician go through all the medications that are in here. And then if something is expired, write me a refill so that I can keep it perpetual. Okay. So you want to make sure you have everything necessary. Make sure you have the Joe Alton library. He's got 3 outstanding books. For survival first aid, a pandemic kit, and then he has a medications book, I believe it is. But he's got 3 fantastic books. You need to have all 3 of those in your library. I'll put links for those down below as well on Amazon. Hello, Pete, Triple G Farms. Good evening. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. I need to make it up there. Absolutely. Who said that? Suzanne Goulet, you're absolutely correct. Cold can kill faster than lack of water. Lack of water, they say, is you start deteriorating after 3 days. Extreme cold, you deteriorate and can possibly die within 3 hours. So you're absolutely correct. There's a big difference between the two. Make sure you are prepared. We are in a cold, we need to be prepared for the cold right now. As a matter of fact, I have an Instafire Vesta, which is a home heating instrument. And I've shown a picture. I did a video on it, a couple years ago. It's a black box, basically. You've got 3 safe heat containers, like the sterno containers. And 2 of them produce heat. The third one produces the heat that runs the fan. So that what it does is it draws air through, warms the air up, and then pushes it out into the home. Each one of those safe fire heat canisters is good for 4 hours. So if you need 12 hours worth of heat, you're going to need 9 of those containers. A case, a flat of safe fire at Sam's Club, a case of 12 is how they come. So, one case of those, you figure, is going to last you 4 times 4 hours, or about 16 hours. Now you can reduce, you can get it warm, and then have just one doing the fan and one doing the warming, and make it last a little bit longer for each one of those flats. But it's a pretty good piece of equipment. A friend of mine, and I hope he's doing well, he had major back surgery a week ago, or this last Wednesday, and he's supposed to be home from the rehab hospital yesterday. I hope that went well. I normally have breakfast with him on Tuesday mornings, but oh gosh, before Ice-Mageddon 2021, I convinced him to buy an Instafire, and he lives in a manufactured home. And he said that while everything outside was like 3 degrees, he kept his room in his exposed manufactured home. He kept it right at 65 degrees with that Instafire. So it works. And I think it's a fantastic thing to do. And now it is very, it consumes an awful lot of those safe heats. I will tell you that. It can be, so one night can cost you probably around $20, $24 just to keep the place warm. But that beats the heck out of freezing to death. So another one of those things you'll learn. Start a library. Starting with some of the books we recommend here would be a good place to start. Okay. Number 102. I want to spend a lot of time on 102. Let me see if I need to catch up with any questions or concerns. Let me see. Creative redundancy. L-Dog. Maintaining core body temper is important. Creative redundancy said, yeah, that's absolutely correct. And so the primary places that you lose your core temperature is top of your head. So make sure you keep that covered. I like the navy wool watch cap. That's my favorite thing to keep my head warm. Through your ears. Then, of course, you're going to lose it through your appendages, your toes, and your hands. So what I do to keep warm, if necessary, is I get those little bitty hand warmers. You can get them at Walmart. You can also get them at Academy sporting goods store. And you can also get them at Bass Pro Shop. Put those underneath your armpit, okay? If you put them underneath your armpit or you put them on your belly, either one, that's going to provide the greatest amount of heat to circulation in your body to keep your blood warm, and that's going to warm up your other organs. You can also do the same thing right here around your carotid artery. So putting anything warm or cool right over here around your carotid artery, that will affect the overall temperature of your blood that is being circulated through your body. Great places to either warm up or cool down as appropriate. Let me see. Yeah, conductive heat loss is primarily when you're in contact with the ground, so make sure you have some space between you and the ground. Then there's convective as well. So convective is, a lot of times you'll see on the news, they will tell you that it's 35 degrees, but feels like 12. That's convective heat loss. So what's happening is that the wind chill, the wind blowing across your body, blowing that cold air across your body, is actually having a greater cooling effect than the actual temperature itself. And so that's convective heat loss. So make sure that anything you wear is also windproof, and that protects you against the convective heat loss. Okay, number 102. Okay. So for another way to cook there, little prepper. What I'm doing is I've got my one burner stove that I got with my can cooker, and I have been buying three to four bottles of butane, like you would not believe. I probably have out in the back storage area. I probably have 100 bottles of butane, and each one lasts for about 4 hours. So, you could use that either for heat or for cooking. My primary thing is going to be cooking. Then my secondary thing is going to be a grill, whether that be the grill or the hibachi in the backyard. So I have a 35-gallon plastic trash can that I've lined with one of those 55-gallon contractor trash bags, and I poured all kinds of charcoal in there. So I have a 35-gallon plastic trash can full of charcoal. I have another two 40-pound bags of charcoal out in the garage. So that way I can store up some charcoal, and I'm going to try to use as much charcoal as possible in cooking and other things, biomass. I have a biomass briquette maker. So the biomass briquette maker, you can take paper, cardboard, grass clippings, coffee grounds, anything like that. You soak it in water until it becomes almost a paste. Then you put it in this briquette maker, and the pressure forms it into a brick. Dry that brick out in the sun, and it becomes basically a fire log. So that's another way where you can recycle basically a lot of your flammable materials, and then you can use those for heating or for cooking. Should trade and barter be part of a survival skill set? Absolutely. And he comes across with some great ideas. And there's 2 pages of absolutely fantastic things that he recommends. Some of the goods available on the barter market are likely to have been stolen or looted. So he answers a question that I've had for quite a while. And the dealers are likely to be armed and prepared to take what you have without any deal being made. So, they're going to be, in this book that I'm reading, the other book I'm reading, Bug In, Bug Out, he talks about that. He says, beware of people looking to barter, looking to trade, because it could be a trap. And who is that? KP Heathen, good evening, welcome. It could be a trap. They could be just getting you to come there so that they can take what you have. Don't take anything with you to the first meeting, and then make sure you have somebody overwatching you and protecting you against any kind of a trap or any kind of a surprise theft or something like that, both going to as well as coming back from any kind of a barter engagement. Now, let me tell you, one of my biggest pet peeves when we talk about barter and the value of different barter items, we talk very generically, and we shouldn't, because it all depends upon 2 different things. Number one, what is the scenario? And my favorite thing there is, in a financial collapse, okay? So if all of a sudden tomorrow the dollar dies, this has 0 value, okay? Nobody's going to want to buy a Geiger counter, Okay. Now, if it's nuclear warfare, all of a sudden the value of this goes up amazingly. Okay. So that's very scenario dependent. So you have to think, what are the things that are dependent upon the scenario? Get the things that are common first, and then get the things that are scenario dependent. Likewise, for a nuclear holocaust, at the initial steps at least, silver and gold won't have any value whatsoever. I agree. But later on, as markets reestablish and we get the people looking to exchange stuff, then you're going to look for a common currency. And precious metals, precious stones, jewelry, have had value for thousands of years, and I can't see why they wouldn't in the future. Same thing. You might even have cash, but the problem with cash is only as good as the government that backs it. So if you have this paper dollar bill and there is no U.S. government, then the paper dollar bill is worthless. Okay, and unless you all agree that it has some value with the people you're going to be trading with. So that's number one. Number two is where we are in the timeline. Different things are going to have different value depending upon where you are in the timeline. So if I tell you go out and get a whole bunch of lighters, that lighters are going to have a high value, think about it. People are going to first go to the stores to get things that they think they're going to need. Think of toilet paper in 2020, okay? Then all of a sudden it was not available, and it became a very highly demanded, high-paid commodity. I will also tell you, I had a store at the time, and I could not find hand sanitizer. So when I did, I bought it, and then I would sell it, because people just could not find hand sanitizer. We had a shortage of hand sanitizer. So those were two things that were in great demand and very limited supply. But who would have thought, all right? So the same thing here. We don't know what's going to be in short supply, and we don't know what will be out there. When I go to Walmart, I say, how many lighters do I see? How many boxes of matches do I see? Those have got to be depleted, okay, before they're going to have high value and people will want to trade for them. So you've got to take that into consideration. What do people currently have? Most people probably have a box of matches. So trying to use matches as a barter item for, say, the first week or two, probably not going to work. You have to wait until after the existing supply has been totally depleted before it has any value. So you got to wait. Timeline has a lot to do with it. Then the third thing that has to do with it is the people that you're going to be bartering with or trading with. And I don't think it's going to be as simple as, hey, hi, how are you? I have a book of matches. Do you have some antibiotics for my wife? Oh, yeah, you do? Well, great, let's trade. Not going to happen that way. You're probably going to find somebody who has the antibiotics, and they're going to say, what do you want for it? And he's going to say, I want an ounce of gold. Okay, well, how do I get an ounce of gold? Well, this person over here has an ounce of gold. So you say, okay, what do you want for your ounce of gold so I can get it to get this? And he says, oh, in order to get it, I want this. So now you got to go look for that, okay, because you don't have it either. So this is going to be a convoluted process of finding all these different things, and then you finally get to the person who has what you can trade for. You trade with him to get what you need to go with the next guy, and hope that the next guy hasn't already traded it away by the time you get to him. It's going to be a very inefficient and convoluted market in a barter society, okay? Which is why you're eventually going to see markets establish. Now, if you want to think of that as the Thunderdome, that's fine. You can think of that way. If you want to think of it like the guy in the town in the book of Eli, the one who wanted the book that Eli supposedly had, you can think of it that way. Whatever way you want to think of it, some sort of a market is going to establish, okay? And that's where you're going to look for things. You're going to go sit at a table. You'll have 2 or 3 lighters sitting out, and somebody's going to come up and say, hey, can I get a lighter? You say, what do you have for it? And then they're going to offer you something. That's where the bartering is going to come in. Developing those skills on how you recognize value, on how you talk to a person and get them to trade with you without belittling what they are offering or belittling them is going to be extremely important. You want them to walk away feeling that they got the best part of the deal and that you got screwed. Because The more confident they are that they got the better part of the deal, the longer you're going to live. If you take advantage of them and they feel like they got what they needed, but they got screwed in the process, your life is now worthless. They will get retribution one way or another eventually, especially in a without rule of law environment. So work on those skills now. How do you make other people feel like they ended up with the better part of the deal? And so, that's going to be very important too. What a great comment, Kaylin. Thank you. And welcome, by the way. And Kaylin did a Canadian MRE last night, I believe it was, for her MRE review. But yeah, Kaylin, you're absolutely right. It depends on where you are, and it depends on the time of year. In some areas, like if I were back in El Paso, drinking water, oh, man, I tell you what, water would become something extremely important. It rains twice a year in El Paso. It rains on July 4th and Labor Day. That's about it. And the aquifer under El Paso used to be one of the largest aquifers in the U.S. Now it's almost bone dry. So the people in El Paso are doing without water. The Rio Grande, when I was there in October for my high school reunion, I think it's up to 18 inches deep now. Whereas, originally it was waist deep between the United States, between El Paso and Ciudad Juarez. Water, how valuable a commodity is that? All kinds of things. So he's got a list here. It takes 2 pages to give you. There are some things in there that I had not thought of. That he's got toilet paper in here, disposable razors. I hadn't thought of that. But probably somebody may want to. I will be the happiest person on earth if you tell me I can't shave anymore. Man, oh man, will I be happy! I go through a styptic pencil a month when I shave. Yeah, I know. There's going to be somebody on here that says, stretch your skin, Lee. Look at my skin. It's crepe paper and it's thin and it always has been. And that's just the way it is. But if I don't have to shave, I'm a happy camper. I only shave once a week right now. Okay. So I shave typically on Saturdays because we go to Mass Saturday evening, the Saturday evening vigil Mass. And then I kind of have a one-day beard when I teach Bible study on Sunday. Catechism, and but I'll be happy if I don't have to shave. But disposable razors, a business. So I've got rechargers for battery rechargers and rechargeable batteries, and I've got a solar system. So that's not the whole house that I have, but this is a separate solar system. So I have a Jackery. I'll put the Jackery out in the backyard. I also have a Goal Zero. I'll put those out in the backyard, hook up the battery chargers to them, charge batteries. Bring me your old battery. We'll trade. I'll give you a new battery, a charged battery in exchange for the old battery plus something. Okay, so that'll be a barter system. Now, there's a danger to that. Okay, the danger is they could just take my solar system and my recharger, right, and do it themselves. So you got to make sure you have a way of protecting that. Flashlights, candles, coffee. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when I buy coffee, I buy for myself and I buy for barter. And I'm going to give you another secret here as well after this one. So I buy, as a matter of fact, I just bought some Saturday. I haven't been able to do my weekly pepper pantry haul because my iPhone synced up with my watch. And I have an iPhone 11. And so the watch consumed all the memory on the phone and it won't let me make any videos now. So I erased all my games and everything else, lost 5 years worth of Candy Crush Saga, and still don't have enough memory to make a video. So I went today and bought it. They said it'll be here tomorrow. Now I'm going to be up to an iPhone 17 with the maximum amount of storage, memory storage, so I can do my Saturday Prepper Pantry haul. I have all set up on the other side of my backboard here. Let me get something to show you. So if you get your coffee like this, then you have all these little individual tubelets, okay? So you can give that away and nobody knows how much coffee you have. If you have one of those big jars of Folgers, and so this is the secret I want to share with you. If you have one of those big jars of Folgers, what I recommend you do is pour out what you're going to keep into a Ziploc bag and keep the Ziploc bag for yourself. Then give about that much in the bottom of the jar so that they think that that's the last of your jar when you barter that away. On the other hand, if you barter away the stuff in the Ziploc bag, their thought process is, oh, he poured this out of something bigger. He's got more. I'm going to get more. Always make them think it's the last you have of what you have. Okay. Or approaching the last. Don't ever give the impression that you have a whole bunch more back. And that's the impression you give if you transfer it into another container. The idea that you're giving them is that there is a master load that you have that you've stored into something else. And that's exactly what I plan to do with my oatmeal. Okay. So oatmeal, number one, it comes with individual serving packets. Get those. Use those if you're going to barter away food. If not, if you get the big tube of rolled oats, like Quaker oats, then pour that into some sort of a container and just leave that much in the bottom of the container and use that for barter. Okay, leave enough for 1 or 2 meals and then use that for barter. I like to collect the great value versions of macaroni, chili mac, or spaghetti and meatballs, the Chef Boyardee products, okay? And they're a little bit cheaper, same thing, got the same proteins and carbs and calories and everything else. I'm going to use that as a barter tool. So if somebody comes to the door and they're hungry, I can give them a can of great value or Walmart chili mac or Walmart spaghetti and meatballs, whatever, okay? But it's not going to be something great. Keep all the great stuff for yourself. Don't give away freeze-dried stuff. If you give away freeze-dried stuff, with the exception of coffee or tea, instant tea or something like that, then what you're doing is you're telling them that you have prepared. You want to keep your preparations as maintain operational security. You want to keep it as secret as possible so that they don't think that you have a whole bunch of stuff in your home that you have prepared for this event to happen, and therefore they want to attack your home. Remember, you want to appear just as desperate as they are, if not more so. Speaking of which, a fantastic barter tool is you don't want to be the fat man in the land of the starving, okay? So if you're going to continue to eat and eat well, go tomorrow to Goodwill. Buy some clothing 1 or 2 sizes larger than what you normally wear, so that when you go to the door or when you go to a barter event or you go to talk to somebody about trading something, it looks like you have not been eating as well as you really have been. It looks like you've lost weight, okay? You want to give that appearance that you're in the same boat that they are, that you're not a whole bunch better off. So make sure that you use that gray man, make sure you use that I'm in the same boat as you are type of appearance, type of mentality, and everything else. If FEMA comes down the road and says, we have MREs for everybody, go out there and stand in line. Appear just like they are. Appear just as needy as they are. Bring it in. Use it, okay? Do not stay in your home and separate yourself from them, and they'll say, well, how come you don't need it? Okay, we need it. How come you don't? Don't raise those kinds of suspicions. Okay, some of the other things. Salt, spices, seeds, over-the-counter pain medications, and cough syrup and things like that. And let me tell you, one of the things that's going to be in high demand as we transition from our normal diet to this artificial diet, and whether that be canned goods, whether it be bulk products, whether it be freeze-dried foods, your digestive system is going to take a kick, okay? And that kick can be one of 2 ways. It can either be everything gets retained inside of you, which we call constipation, or it can be, I need to get rid of this stuff as quickly as possible, which we call diarrhea. Make sure you have plenty of medication for both of them because you don't know how your body's going to react right now. Same thing. You want to be a hero in your neighborhood, have some extra diarrhea or some extra constipation medicine, and then that will be very much appreciated by your neighborhood as well. Let me see. I am reading your stuff. Oversized clothing, no problem. Yes, it is. Thank you for bringing that out, Suzanne. Oversized clothing is also great for layering as far as protecting you against the cold. So you can use it as an outer layer and then put your smaller fitting stuff on the inside. And that what you want to do is you want to create as many layers as possible so that you're retaining most of that warmth here, and then you've got different zones of cold and warm as it comes in towards you. So my real concern is my mobility. It would be sketchy if I had to go any distance or quickly. I understand that, Patricia, and that's a very valid concern. So that's why it's very important you start establishing those relationships now with people that you can trust. Now, and so when we talk about forming a group, and in your group, you have to ask yourself one major question, and that is, can I sleep with that person? Do I trust them enough to where I can go to sleep while that person is in my home? Or will they off me and take care of everything that I've got and use it for themselves? So that's the trust factor you have to have in order to invite somebody inside what I call the Alamo or your home. Because once they're inside and you're asleep, you don't know. It has to be implicit trust. Yes, Provident Prepper let me tell you, for those of you who don't know, Provident Prepper, what's her name? It's 2 words. Jonathan, his name is Jonathan. Roylene? No. Kylene. Her name is Kylene. Jonathan and Kylene. He, as a matter of fact, is on the board. Both of them, I believe, are on the board of directors for I'm a member of the group, and I can't remember the name of the group. TACTA, the American Civil Defense Association. But they have a lot of good stuff. Please subscribe to Kaylin. Would you do me a favor and find Provident Prepper and put their link to their channel on here? Everybody needs to subscribe to that. Absolutely. Let me see what else. Yeah, I'm trying to get. I'm trying. I am an affiliate with Jace Medical. I'm trying to talk them into giving me the first aid kit. They have a brand new first aid kit. That's where I found out about the Sam Slishman wrap, and it's a wrap that can be used as a tourniquet, and it's much like the SWAT T, but man, oh man, this is so versatile. Slishman wrap is what it's called. I'll put a link to it. I bought 2. I bought one all by itself, then I bought another one that's being used to put a SAM splint. So it comes with the SAM splint, so you can use it to attach a splint to a broken limb. I'll put those links in the show notes tomorrow. Matches and lighters. Yes, absolutely. I have a whole bunch of Zippo lighters and then a whole bunch of cans of Zippo lighter fluid. So I had a problem with Walmart. Walmart used to sell Zippo lighters, but no lighter fluid. Now they have the lighter fluid over in the camping area by the sterno cans and everything else. Don't have a whole bunch of it, but when they do get it, I get most of my lighter fluid now from the dollar store or from the local gas station. I probably have a dozen cans of lighter fluid, but that's very, very valuable, I think, in a post-apocalyptic world. I like Zippo because it's windproof in comparison to Bic, so that's a different. On the Bics, I like the shorter. It has a little tube. It's kind of like a reach type of a Bic. because you're going to be using it to start fires. Not the greatest, the one that has the top thing, that's more for lighting cigarettes. If you're trying to light a fire, you're not going to have the reach. It's going to hit your fingers. I like the ones with the little tubes. I really like the ones with the longer tubes that you use for grills and stuff like that. I think that's going to be very, very popular. Soap and detergent, absolutely. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, um, alcoholic beverages. Now, the way I do alcoholic beverages, and I bought them and then I reconsidered, but I probably have 300 bottles of the little bitty, what I call airplane bottles. I got them for like $1 each at the liquor store. It's been 5-10 years since I bought any, so it's probably gone up in price, I'm sure. But I just, bought a whole, I used to buy like 5 a week or something like that for about a year. And, but I just have all these little bottles of single serve alcohol. That's what I plan to barter away. I don't have any of the big ones I'm going to barter away. I did buy a pint of Bacardi rum, and so I could probably use that. But you don't want to give away liters and stuff like that. Don't want to get people too alcohol induced. They can come back at you. Tobacco products. So let me talk about tobacco products. Mike thought about tobacco products when I was the HR director at the ARCH, which is the Austin Resource Center for the Homeless, ARCH. It's the 3rd largest homeless shelter in the U.S. And so I would talk with the homeless, and I learned an awful lot about how they live. And that, let me tell you, they will survive anything that happens. That they have really learned how to adapt. One of the things they taught me was that they go along the streets and they'll find a cigarette that somebody's thrown on the street. It's down to the butt. They'll pick that cigarette up and they'll squeeze the tobacco into a container. And then they take that container and they go back to the ARCH, and they bought these machines, and the machine was made by, I forget the name of the machine. But anyhow, I have one. But anyhow, they have this machine, and then you buy these pre-manufactured tubes with a filter on the end. So you can buy that tube at any grocery store or anything else. And then they would take this highly concentrated, because all that nicotine has come through, been filtered through the tobacco that's left. And that's even more concentrated tobacco. You put it into this machine, and then you push it inside, and it tamps it inside of that cigarette tube. And then you have a normal cigarette. But I'll put a link to that. Get one of those. Then you can get some tins, let's say, of, I would get the tins. I would get anything that's sealed, so you maintain the moisture and the freshness of the tobacco. And you can get, whether it be cigarette tobacco, whether it be pipe tobacco or anything like that, then you can use that to make cigarettes. So you could do the same thing. Okay, this is another one of those things where you can use the butts that you find on the street. I've got a refrigerator. We used to smoke. And we've got a refrigerator on the back porch, one of those 6 cubic foot refrigerators. And so what I used to do was, when we smoked, we would empty out the tobacco from our cigarettes, and then we put it into a Ziploc bag. And so I've got probably, 3 quarts of tobacco in Ziploc bags out in this refrigerator on the back porch. I can use that to make cigarettes. They won't be the best in the world, but they'll be better than what they have, which is nothing. So, that's, you can do that. I'll put that link for that tool, as well as for the tubes with filters attached in the show notes tomorrow. Talks about disposable razors, alcohol and disinfectants. Get those little bitty, order those little bitty packages of alcohol wipes, like what we use before giving an injection or taking a blood sample or something like that. Get those little bitty alcohol wipes. Nobody will know how many you have left. Okay, the same thing. I think if you look back last month, maybe the month before, I ordered a whole bunch of ibuprofen, of acetaminophen, and some other over-the-counter pain medications. fever and pain medications. I ordered them in those individual packets. Okay, so you get 2 servings per packet. You can usually find these at the convenience stores. You know, they charge you $15 for 2 pills. But anyhow, I bought a bunch of those because now I don't have a bottle that I'm pouring things out of so that people know I have more. I'm giving away 1 or 2 pills in an envelope so that they think that that could be my last. They don't know. But just another one of those things you want to do there with the you can do that with alcohol wipes. You can do that with hand sanitizer wipes. You can do that with over-the-counter medications. I like one of the things I like to get at the dollar stores is they have those dollar travel kits for toothbrush, toothpaste, floss in a Ziploc bag for less than $2. I think I was picking up for $1 each. Probably have about 50 of those. So now I have this little travel kit, okay, and it looks like I bought it for a travel kit. So I'm not giving away a big tube of toothpaste. I'm not giving away, anything. Give it away and you say, look, I have this travel kit left if you want it, right? Make it always look like you're running short. Don't let them know that you have a whole bunch. Duct tape, wire, paracord, rope. I've been having all kinds of advertisements on Facebook for this pulley system with a locking pulley that you can use, and it comes with 10 feet of rope, and so you can put up a tarp or something with it. Just a fantastic system. Right now I have the Night Eyes, what's it called? I have a Night Eyes system for my tarps right now that I use, and but these look really good. They've got locking carabiners. Just a fantastic system. I just can't justify the cost right now. So it's in my want on my Amazon account. Then I take a look at these, and so it says it's already reduced 50%. Yeah, sure. I'll fall for that. And if you buy 4, then they're going to take another 20% off. Well, okay. So now it's down to where it's only like $6 per carabiner or per ratchet. I don't know. But those things are going to become important. Nails, screws, eye bolts, all that's going to become important for repairs. Sewing supplies. I've got all kinds of little bitty sewing kits. Okay. I will tell you, Dave Canterbury talks about having what he calls canvas needles, really big sewing needles. So you can do leather products, or you can repair a coat or anything, heavy fabric, canvas, or anything like that. Make sure you get one of those. And you can get it on Dave Canterbury's website, which is selfreliantoutfitters.com, or you can get the thicker sewing needles at Walmart. They come like 3 to a package for maybe $5. I'm not a big fan of what he says next, but I'll go with it. It says ammunition in common calibers, 38, 45, 40, 22, 9mm, 308. Of course, the military version of 308, which is 7.6251, 5.56 NATO, and 7.62 Russian, which is 7.6239. If you see my videos from pre C-19, okay, the lockdown, I would have said that I am 99.9% certain that the hunting calibers, 6.5 Creedmoor, 30-30, 308, 30-06, 7mm, 270 Winchester, all of those, I would have said, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would have said, those are definitely the ones that are going to be on the market in the event of an ammunition shortage, because those are the common hunting calibers. Those, I don't have all those rifles, but those are the rifles I have, the hunting rifles. And so I would have said, yeah, they're going to keep those in stock. Boy, was I wrong. I could not find 30-30. Come hunting season, no 30-30 on the shelves. There was no 300 Blackout. There was no 30-06. There was no 270. I could find 308, 7.6251, which is great. But the hunting ammunition that I wanted other than 308, I could not find. It was nowhere. Military, it was there. So what are the military calibers? It used to be 45. 45 has been, the U.S. Army is now on its third 9mm pistol after doing away with the M1911 that it had for 70 years. But anyhow, so I would have said 45 caliber, but I don't say 45 caliber anymore. 9mm is going to be where it's at. 38, 357 is going to be not as common, but it's going to be on the shelves, I believe. And those are primarily going to be for revolvers. 22 long rifle. I think everybody has a 22. I've got 2 boxes of 410 shotgun shells, and I don't have a 410 shotgun. So, I probably will barter those away for if somebody has a 410. 12 gauge, absolutely. I don't know how many. I have a 20 gauge. I don't know how many other people have a 20 gauge, but I have a 20 gauge. I like getting number 3 buck for my 20 gauge, and so that's going to be probably for home defense. We'll use number 3 buck here inside the house, and I'm going to say get all kinds of bird shot for your shotguns. If you have a shotgun, make sure you have bird shot, because one of the other things I want to tell you is that the hunting is going to be, we're going to deplete the livestock population like you would not believe. So you want to have bird shot and squirrel shot and varmint shot, basically. And I will tell you, quail season, pigeon season, when they migrate through, you're going to have very little chance. Make sure you're a good shot. For pigeon season, it probably takes 3 pigeons for me for a meal for me. So that's 3 shotgun rounds. Okay, if there's 4 people in your family, that's 12 rounds per meal. So now figure out that the season is maybe 4 weeks in the spring, 4 weeks in the fall. You want to take a look at the amount of ammunition you're going to expend versus what you're going to be eating. And, you've got to find a better way to do that. Let me see. Oh, North Carolina Douglas, good evening. Welcome. A few years back when Walmart decided to stop selling all, my wife was head manager and we got all the ammo they had. Oh, wow. What a great deal. Our local Walmart here still sells hunting rifles, and they still sell shotguns, and they still sell ammunition for the hunting rifles, and they sell ammunition for the shotguns. You cannot find what would typically be defined as anti-personnel shotgun rounds. So double-aught buck, triple-aught buck, number 3, number 4 buck, number 2 buck, you aren't going to find those at Walmart. You're going to find primarily, I'm going to say maybe number 5 through number 9. So target shooting, number 5, might be the biggest pellet you're going to find at Walmart here where I am. But yeah, oh no, yeah, when that was right after, and as a matter of fact, the Walmart where that shooting happened was in Cielo Vista. So I grew up. If you take a look at that, the Cielo Vista Mall is on the corner of Viscount or Viscount, however you want to pronounce it, Viscount, and Hawkins Boulevard. And where I grew up is not even a half mile from there. I grew up on the corner of Hawkins and Turrentine, 8708 Turrentine, El Paso, Texas. So where I grew up is only about a half mile from where that shooting happened, that Walmart shooting. But once that happened, yeah, they removed all 5.56 and 223 ammunition from their shelves, and yep, they cleared it out very quickly. So you got a very good deal there, NC Douglas. I know you did, because they just wanted to get rid of it. Let me see, what else? Fuel. So if you're going to get fuel, make sure you get some sort of stabilizer for it. The best stabilizers on the market right now are Stabil, S-T-A-B-I-L. You can get that at Walmart or at most automobile supply companies. They say Stabil will keep your fuel stable for about 2 years. Okay. There is another product called Prov. I have not found that at Walmart. I have found it on Amazon, and I have also found it at Tractor Supply, and I found it at one of our local automobile dealers. Auto supply stores. I have extra Preg and extra Stabil, not mixed with gas yet, but in the garage. I think I have 1 or 2 jars of each, just in case I come across some gasoline, post-apocalyptic world. Supposedly, and there's a fantastic guy out of Canada. His name is Toolman Tim. So, and Toolman Tim, thank you for the tips that you've been giving us all this time. But he turned me on to Preg. And supposedly Preg will reactivate bad gas. So if your gas has gone bad, you can pour Preg into it and it'll reactivate it and make it where you can use it. So that's pretty much where we are. Okay, next week we will pick up with paragraph or question 103, tip 103, whatever. We only got through 2 tips tonight, 101 and 102. We got through basically your library and then trade and barter. 107, I think it is nuclear. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that. Let me look here. Yeah, 107, how can I survive a nuclear event? So we're probably going to spend a lot of time on that. We'll try to get to that next week. If not, then 2 weeks from now, we're going to spend the whole show on 107. How can I survive a nuclear attack? That may be very premonition of what's going on in the world. We will find out. So let me check one last time for comments here, because you guys have such great comments. Wow, yeah. So you have a foul hunter in the sense of FOWL, not FOUL, hunter. That's great. Ready Magazine has been. Oh, Rick, welcome. I didn't know you were here. Fantastic. Rick is on the board of directors for, he's the vice president of Ready Magazine. Rick, if you would please, sir, would you put in, Rick and I are forming a group of American Survivor to meet here in the greater Austin area. And so we're trying to get that established. We've got a brand new channel we just opened up in the last 3 days on Facebook. American Survivor Austin, I believe is what the title of it is. Rick, help me out here, make sure I'm saying this right. But if you would support that, I would greatly appreciate that. That's our new Facebook channel. We're going to have all kinds of stuff loaded up. We'll be putting up some videos. We'll be putting up an awful lot of stuff from Mr. Jones, James C. Jones. So look forward to that. And we appreciate your support with that. So let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26, that I still don't have memorized. And the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. So thank you all for your fantastic support. I hope tonight was meaningful for you. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for your support. I've got that breakfast. I got a prayer breakfast every Tuesday morning from 8 to 9. From there, I am going to run over to Walmart and Sam's. I want to get another flat of Safe Heat from Sam's. And so I probably won't have the stuff added to the chat notes until around noon tomorrow, but look for the links for that Vesta Instafire. Look for the links for the Slishman wraps that I was talking about. I will also put in the cigarette maker. So those are the things I owe you that I will put in there first thing tomorrow morning, as soon as I get back from that. So, okay, Live Free Austin on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you, Rick. So if you would support those, Live Free Austin, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you for your continued support. Remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please continue to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because togetherness is what's going to see us through. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.